Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of What If Civilization Started Over. We are currently on episode 46, and I think we all know what's going to be happening, and we're just going to get into the video. And we're going to start off over here in Central Asia. There's a pretty important event happening right now, and this is, most of these countries are going to put aside their differences and unite. Specifically, two unions as in another country, and that being the orange team right here, the dual orange team. These guys are going to be merging with none other than the pink team right here to form this new little thing. And instead of having multiple alliances, they're going to keep the middle one as it's in between the other two, and it just fits better. So they will be keeping that one. And now they're pretty strong. They're a very good size for Asia now. That boosted the size of Asian countries. But then next we see the Farmers Union, and then this alliance right here, which they were originally planning to unite. But these guys opted out of it at the last second. So they went up to the orange team up here, and they signed the deal. I don't know what day this would be. But they unite under the original flag. And yeah, their capital's gone. So now they look pretty big and pretty wonky. So now what they're going to do is they're actually going to sell some of these provinces, and especially some of these northern ones. And you can also see that some of these provinces don't look the best, because I've worn them down over and over by redrawing the map. But that should be able to fix it. But they're going to be selling some of these provinces. Mainly, they're going to be selling this northern province up here. Yeah, they're going to be selling this northern province, like I said. So they can take control of that quite easily. They try to buy more, but they don't want to sell everyone to the same place. So now they're going to sell their next ones. Next one is actually going to be the blue team right here, the blue Siberian team. They need more land south, and that's really that's really it. They just would really like more land south. This is in fact the smallest province they own. Secondly to this province, which shouldn't be a thing. So, we're going to redraw this. But yeah, we're going to redraw this province just because it looks terrible before. So now it's one big province. But anyway, down south, when we get back to the topic, they're going to be creating some new provinces. Specifically, right, oh, that's, wrong brush, specifically right here, where two are made over there, and then another one is made right here. And the reason for this is because they're all being sold over to the gray team, and this is like their main purchase. They're the friendliest with these guys than anyone else. So yeah, they just decided to sell it to them. So now these guys, old borders, they've had these borders for quite a long time. They're a little bit different now, but they look pretty much the same. And now these guys look very weird. But we're gonna go ahead and move on from that to the next. Oh wait, something I forgot to talk about is that both of these are, of course, they're both of them. Let me get to the right layer here. Both of these countries are unionists now. And, of course, some of them have differences. Like, the one up here was a dictator. But, of course, yeah, like I said, they're putting aside their differences. And they're ready to take on a unionist flag. Same thing down here. It was a dictatorship. We're actually going to make these guys circle bigger. I don't know what I did. But yeah. So they both shift to unionism instead of democracy or dictatorship. And unionism is the purest form of democracy we've seen yet. Just so you know. If anybody hasn't watched the latest episodes, you wouldn't know what that is, so that's why I just explained it. But yeah, it's the purest form of democracy, and their goal is just to unite everybody in the world. And it kind of converts your religion also. Kind of like Aegis Pros. But it's mainly an ideology. In this series, anyway. Now, we can move on from that. And we are going to be seeing a war, actually. And this war is going to be taking place over in California and Washington. The California Union and Washington. It's over to dispute over this province right here. Of course, California claims it. But of course, it isn't California's. You can see that. So, they're going to be going to war over it. And it's actually the red team who starts this. Here, cover booster. Okay, I didn't want to zoom in that much. But, yeah. So they march their troops in along the border. Maybe we can just fix that border up a little bit. That'll do for now. And then they're just going to keep marching inward, and they're going to spiral all over the place a little bit. And, I'm actually going to change Washington's color a little bit, so that we can see their major cities. And their capital is going to stay that shade. Okay, so that fixes it. And it's not too much of a difference for Washington. Same Washington, just so that we can see it more during the war, at least. And they actually go around this major city. They eventually capture it. And the element of surprise. But Washington has also been sitting around doing nothing. So they quickly take that back. They start marching their militaries forward towards the border. They start taking some of this more land over. But they are able to take a hold on the south side. And they start moving their troops even more so in. This time, they're mainly focusing on the coast. And they're going to wrap around the coast, cutting off these two major cities from the coast, which cripples them. And eventually they take the southern one, but the northern one is closer to the capital, and they're able to hold. But with this comes loss. As we see, down in the south, they're losing a lot of ground really fast to these guys. And they've even made a breakthrough at the very south, the deep south of the front line, I guess. And they make a breakthrough, and they start heading for the capital. But there's a mountain chain right here, and they're not able to make it all the way. It's this point where we see them retreating their troops a little bit, which leads to them losing this major city and a little bit more ground in other places. But they are able to kind of break the spearhead right here and finish off the encirclement. But it's dominated like this for a while until we see these guys get support from both sides get support from different people. And one of them is America, actually. America's helping them. They don't really like the Washington guys. They never really did. And America is supporting them a lot. They captured both of these major cities this time. And this is a very big defeat for them. And then they cut off their little offensive down here, which eventually will lead to the collapse of this. But they did send some of their troops on this part of the front line that was doing the encirclement. So it gets to about like this, and everybody's about ready to quit. When, that is, we see the blue team try to jump in this. And they start taking major cities up here, and then down in this panhandle. So on both panhandles, they're attacking. But, if you know, this is a very historic area. It's, one of the most historic, borders in the world. Because this was like colonialism. The colonial borders were like this. So this is very important. And now we're seeing America funding the Washington guys. So now they're funding each of them. They're like, get the war over with. Put aside your differences and get this war over with. So the two down here decide to work out a peace treaty in where no one gets any land. Yeah, that's right, I said it. No one gets anything. Which is because... Oh, let me get to this. The reason for that being they're both going to send their forces onto the front line over here with the, I believe, fascist blue team. So they start sending their troops in. This is mainly through the panhandle areas, but also in some of these other areas. And they start forcing off this side. And this is where, first of all, I'm going to get rid of this disgusting blue border color. They also advance a little bit forward. This is where the these guys are in alliance with the communist China. That unfortunately has just come to the end. They're so fed up with each other that this probably would have happened a long time ago. But yeah, communists don't like the other guys, so boom, they're gone. Bye. It's been gone for a while. I don't know why it still had it. That's a mistake on my part. But I think you probably predicted this since I got rid of that. The communists attacked the fascists. Now you would be like, well, doesn't this start a war? This just makes everybody more mad. One, because they're not in any alliances, so this just makes everybody mad. And now it's just like the fascists and the communists are really mad at each other. But it gets even worse when the Americans jump in. And they have the sole goal of trying to reunite the Orange Team people. The communists and the USA people kind of aim guns at each other at firepoint, but they don't do anything. And eventually the capital is taken. This country has collapsed. It's getting taken over from every which way. The Americans send their troops in. And this is where they just completely surrender. And they surrender over to Washington because they do not want to face defeat against the communists. And so the war goes kind of like this. And then I guess we'll see our peace treaty. And then after that, we'll go on to something bigger. Okay, this is a bit chaotic, but it's very simple. The Californians get some land from this. And this is exactly because of how much land the Washington team gets, which is all of this, which is a lot, I will say. But they did play a big part in this. They did, like I said, play a big part in the war, so they get a good amount of land. And actually, you know what? I think I'm going to give them these two provinces right here too. Just like that. Which includes the old capital of the blue team, which we will get to it in a second. Meanwhile, the dark red team gets all this land in the coast area. This is what they asked for. And also, we're just gonna paint over these islands. Okay, never mind. That looks terrible. I'm not doing that. And they also get some land connecting them to their, this part down here, this loopy part thingy. The green team is brought back. Oh, what do I do? Oh, it's just literally 2 pencils every time. Okay, the green team is back. They're going to put their capital as close to the this is not big enough. They're putting their capital as close to the border of the American team as they can, because they don't want to do that again. And now we can see that the blue team is going to be brought back. And now they look like this, which isn't good enough. And everybody's not really happy with this. This is where we see the second peace treaty. This one includes the green team getting all that land and some minor pieces of land along the border. And it also sees that the communist Alaskans get a ton more land. There's way more land than they should have gotten. Now we're left with this. And from here, they give the green team a little bit more land. And that does it for the peace treaty. They have no, now they're cut off from the sea, which isn't good. And now you might notice that the Alaskans grow once again. So they've been getting very big recently, and the government loves everybody. Like everybody loves the government. I mean, and for the ideology, yeah, they're gone. They are now no longer a fascist. That's completely gone. Instead, they are going to become, they're going to become a dictatorship. So they're working their way towards something better. But this also means that they could become a communist. And then the green team being brought back, they are full-on democracy. Just like this. And, America is doing a lot of shady stuff behind people's backs. But now, for the moment you've probably all been waiting for, we have the start of something big. As we all know, tensions have been rising since after World War III. And now, finally, there will be conclusion to this. The date and time are 2092, March 25th, 5 a.m. The Chinese president, or leader, is assassinated. March 25th, 5:20 a.m. The dark blue Russian team switches to fascism. 5:27 a.m. Russia is united under a fascist rule. 5 7:37 a.m. Argentina declares war on Brazil. March 25th, 6:34 a.m. The Square Alliance, Circle Alliance, and Trapezoid Alliance declare state of emergency. 6:42 a.m. Italy and Spain have massive outbreaks of rebellion. March 25th, 6:50 a.m. The blue team suffers the same fate as Italy and Spain. March 25th, 7 a.m. Australia declares state of emergency. 23 a.m. Project Dominate is put into action. March 25th, 7:37 a.m. Communist Chinese troops march into Korea. March 25th, 7:56 a.m. The Galapagos go up in flame. March 25th, 8:24 a.m. Ireland gives speech. Fellow people of Ireland, we were once powerful, and recently we have gained that back, as well as our sovereignty and new allies. Because of our system, we can continue to grow, but the communists threaten all of this, which is why we shall declare war on the communist nations if they carry out their plans to conquer the world. Glory to Ireland! After the speech, 6 minutes later, the Communist Chinese go in press. Comrades, under communist flags, we have shown our strength and power against the democratic forces in recent years, and we shall continue to do so to the ends of all civilizations, and with that, we will not stop fighting, even if that means 20 world wars. Glory to us all. Glory to the dominant forces. 9 minutes after the last speech, the red team goes on press. Hello, fellow citizens of Arabia and the world. We gather here to discuss an important topic, which is the future. I know most people think we are evil, but we are truly not. Under our banner, life has thrived for thousands of years, and brought prosperity to us all. So take our call for war, and join us in battle, or by union, to form a new order, a better order, for a final showdown against the radical forces. Long live Arabia. These speeches are very powerful and give the alliances nicknames. The dominant forces, the sovereign socialists, and finally, the new order. Now it is 8:46 a.m. and the sea has started to bubble around the Indonesian island of Mega Borneo. It seems as though everything has gone wrong for the world, as the dawn of death is here. Welcome to World War Domination. The shuttles are ready, sir. Good. Have them launch immediately. Are you sure, sir? Yes. Do it now. Okay, sir.